Okay, in permutation combinations, the very first thing I just start with is factorial notation, right? Factorial notation. That is one of the very important part to start with. Then we'll get into the fundamental principle of counting like this. So first we'll go for factorial notation, right? This is a very important and powerful notation, and it's related problem we'll do. Now, what is factorial notation or factorial of a number? Let us first write those things, and then we'll be talking about this, right? So let n be any positive, right? Positive integer, any positive integer. You can consider this as natural number also, same thing, right? Then, then the continuous product of all the natural number, all the natural number from 1 up to n is called the factorial of n, right? That is, that is, we are going to get the notification now. That is factorial of n is nothing but you have to get the product from all natural number right from n, right? Or you can say right from 1 to n minus, sorry, 1 to n. Like this you can go for. So I am writing it in the reverse direction. So this is the product n into n minus 1 into n minus 2. So we have a notation for this. The notation is n and this colon sign, right? That is nothing but your n minus 1 into n minus 2 dot 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 into 3 into 2 into 1. So this is the factorial notation, right? So do not think only this is the notation, right? We have an alternate notation also, right? We also, that also you see, we also denote factorial of n by. This is another notation we are going to use. So of course we do not use very frequently, right? One more we are going to use. I'll show you that sometimes you may be getting. So actually we keep it inside the bracket like this, right? Okay, just a minute. I'll keep it little far so that you can get it easily. So the notation what we can use is this one. We can keep it in the bracket like this. Okay. This is another notation for n factorial. So now let us just start with some examples, good examples in fact, so that we can understand. Say this we have to note, right? 1 factorial means what? The multiplication of only 1, right? Then if I write 2 factorial, then what it is? You should start with 2 and you go up to 1. That is giving you how much? 2. Then what will be 3 factorial? 3 factorial is equal to 3 into 2 into 1. I am using dot for into. So this is 6, right? Similarly, if I talk about 4 factorial, then it will be 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. That gives you how much? 24. See, I'm writing all this because you have to remember at least up to 7 factorial or 8 factorial. Okay? So I'm writing all this. You have to remember it for ready to use 120, right? Then you go for 6 factorial. What will be 6 factorial? 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, that is equal to 720, right? At the same time, now we observe one thing that will be written as a property afterwards. Now only we'll be using that is 7 factorial. 7 factorial will be equal to what? 7 into the rest of the sequence from 6 to 1, which I can write as 6 factorial. So it is always better to write this as 7 times 720, right? So this is a property you can say. So this will be what? 5040. You have to remember it. Remember it. Then 8 factorial will be equal to what? 8 times, directly you will write, it is 7 factorial. 7 factorial means 5040. That will lead you what? Up to 8 5s are 40, and this is 30. Okay, I'll write like this: 0 and then 2, 3. Okay, fine. 40320, right? If anywhere I get mistaken, please tell me. The 9 times 8 factorial, that is 40320. 40320 will be how much? You again multiply this. It is 0 here, then 8 here, 9 2s are 18, 9 3s are 27, so 28 will be here, and then it is 9 4s are 36, 36, right? And then you go up to 10 factorial. You go up to 10 factorial. Okay, 10 factorial directly you can write, only one zero will be increased at the end. So this is the idea of factorial for starting with, right? So it is a very powerful notation. Please try to observe this and please go through it. Okay, after that, try to see. It is important to note, it is important to note that, right? Following things you have to note. This is very, very important. Many students mistaken it. So please try to observe that very, very clearly. A factorial plus B factorial, right? And A plus B factorial are not equal, right? They are not equal. Similarly, A factorial minus B factorial minus B factorial and A minus B whole factorial are not equal, right? You have to work out them separately. So please make sure this into B factorial and AB whole factorial are not equal, right? Next, if I talk about A factorial by B factorial, right? I am using slash for this, and A by B whole factorial are not equal. And at last, if somebody says that there is a constant k and I am multiplying this constant, I'm using the cross sign here, say with a factorial, and then I want to take k times a factorial, they are also not equal. Also not equal. So you please be very, very clear about these small things. These are very small things, but very, very important. Please see this. An important observation. An important observation. Right? This is already we did, but still, as a part of formal answer, I am writing. Right? As a part of formal answer, I am writing. That is, n factorial is equal to n times n minus 1 factorial, right? That means moment you take the leading element n out of the factorial sign, then you will be left out with the next leading element of the complete group as its factorial notations, right? So this is very, very important to note. This is one. And next, there is a note which we have to accept. That is, few notes are there. That is note number one. N factorial is not defined if n is a negative number or a fraction. Right? If it is negative number or a fraction, then it cannot be defined. N factorial is not defined. This is number one. And then second one, we accept one thing, that if I talk about 0 factorial, that we consider as 1. We'll be getting a proof of this 0 factorial equal to 1 when we study uh, permutations, right? Then with the help of that formula, we'll produce and we'll try to go for this particular things. Please see. Now let us take examples. Examples. Okay. Number one. Just I'll not write in the form of questions. So if somebody asks you to find 3 plus 5 factorial, then how will you do? 3 plus 5 factorial means 3 factorial plus 5 factorial means 3 factorials individually you find, that is 6. 5 factorial means 120, and then this leads you to conclude this is 126. So this you can directly write. Remember here, at the same time, by the side, I would like to tell you what will be the answer of this. 3 plus 5 whole factorial. So what it will be? It will be equal to 8 factorial, and that already you know 8 factorial was, I think it was 32880, something like that. It was, sorry, 40320. So your answer is 40320. So you see the difference. 3 factorial plus 5 factorial is quite a small numbers, whereas 3 plus 5 whole factorial is a bigger number. So they cannot be equated at any time, which we usually or students usually commit mistakes. So 5 factorial minus, suppose 3 factorial I asked. So that will be what? 120 minus 6. That gives you how much? 114. Whereas if you go for finding the factorial like this, 5 minus 3, the whole factorial, so that gives you what? 2 factorial, and leads you to answer 2. So in no case they can be compared. So please be very careful about that. Very careful about that. In terms of example, I am giving. Sorry, this is 3. Okay, so in terms of example, I am giving. This is number 5. Suppose 3 factorial into 5 factorial is given. So what we get? 6 into 120. That leads you to 720, right? So in the similar way, if I write 3 into 5 whole factorial, it will be 15 factorial, much more bigger than 720. So that part I'll not go and I'll not discuss. It will not be comfortable enough to discuss. This is one of the part, right? So after that, we can take some questions. Some questions will be taking, and then we'll be discussing our other parts nicely, right? Questions, right? So let us try to take some questions. Let us start with question number 1. Sorry. Question number 1. Simply it is evaluate the following. Evaluate the following. Already we have done some in terms of examples, so I'm not going to take those kind of questions here. Suppose someone is asking you 5 times, say 5 factorial. 5 times 5 factorial. So here only I'll write the answer. 5 times 5 factorial. What is the 5 factorial giving you? 120. That you have to remember. You have to evaluate separately. So this is 600. value is 600. This is one, right? So another question, say, let us take easy questions I'm taking, right? Say somebody told you that you have to find a, say, 3 factorial whole square, right? So whole square I cannot write it here in this way. Just wait, I'll manage this. Don't worry about that. So yeah, suppose somebody, they are asking you to write whole square, 3 whole square, factorial 3 whole square. So it will be like this. So what will be factorial 3 whole square equals? You can write it here. That will be equal to, right, 3 factorial into 3 factorial. That is 3 factorial is 6. So 6 into 6. That is giving you how much? 36. So you cannot say that it is 3 square factorial, right? Otherwise it will be 9 factorial. It will be very, very long and big, and they will not be at any time equal. So this is one of the part. Next you come to this question. Suppose someone is asking you to divide 150 factorial. Okay, I'll be writing the division sign just after. So suppose someone is asking you to write 150 divided by 149 factorial. Now it is very embarrassing. You see, 150 is so big, right? 150 is so big. If I try to identify all this, don't you feel that it will be very, very difficult? So what I'll write, we write this as in a very particular way and peculiar way. We write what we'll write. You try to see 150. We can write this as 150 times 149 factorial, right? And at the same time, the denominator 149 factorial you keep as it is, right? The reason is very, very clear. We use the particular result what we have already discussed, that if you take the leading element out, always the factorial will be changed to the next element. So from here it is very, very clear that you can cancel this 149 factorial with this 149 factorial, and then you will lead your answer to 150, right? So that's a great calculation. So your answer will be here equal to 150. So please see this. If you have any doubt, any queries to ask, please see this. So here is the next question. You have to find the value of k so that 1 by 12 factorial plus 1 by 13 factorial equal to k by 14 factorial. So here the answer I do here by the side of the problem. So you see how we'll proceed. It is 1 by 12 factorial, 1 by 12 factorial, then it is 1 by 13 factorial equal to k by 14 factorial. Now you try to see 1 by 12 factorial is the smallest, so leave it like this. 1 by 13 factorial will be broken as 12 into 13, sorry, 13 into 12 factorial. This will be 14 into 13 into 12 factorial. And in every place you can cut, you can cancel 1 by 12 factorial because this is common. So what will be left out with is these things. This is 14 into 13. No need to multiply 14 into 13. Then you will be getting this as 14 by 13 equal to k by 14 into 13, right? So here you can cancel 13 and 13. So ultimately after cross multiplication, you will be getting this as 14 square. So what is k equal to? 189. Please see this question. Please see this question. This is not 189. I'm very sorry. 196. 196. Correct. Thank you for the correction. So 196 is the value of k. Now we'll go for the next question. Right? We'll go for the next question under the same head. It was question number 1. Now question number 2. Question number 2. Right? So let us just make it little different. 1 by, say it is 25 factorial plus 1 by 26 factorial equal to k square by 27 factorial, and you have to find the sum of value of the k. So here only we can do. I'll proceed for doing here only. So 1 by 25 factorial you keep as it is because it is the smallest. The bigger one you break it once, and the biggest one, that is 27 factorial, will be broken as 27 into 26 into 25 factorial. Now out of that you can see 1 by 25 factorial can be easily cancelled out, and you'll be getting this as this much, 27 into 26, right? So from here you can easily identify. Now you got a good idea that it is 27 by 26. This is k square, 27 into 26. Then what will happen? 26 will get cut, and k square will be equal to 27. So k will be equal to plus or minus 27. Be very, very specific here. Many students sometimes get confused. K factorial, as it is not defined for negative numbers, I do not have to take negative numbers here. But remember, we are not talking here about the factorial of k, right? Nowhere it is mentioned about the factorial of k, or maybe it is not told that k should be positive. So if somebody tells you that k cannot be negative, you would have easily discarded this particular answer over there. So this is one of the question, right? That is a very important question. So now the third one of this kind, exactly of the same kind, I want to take by making it general. Say n factorial, it is n plus 1 factorial, and k divided by n plus 2 factorial, right? So here you proceed with the same idea. It is n factorial 1 by n plus 1 factorial, that is divided by, अच्छा sorry, let me extend it first, expand it. ऐसे लिखने से क्या होगा? We will make it, what happened? Just a minute, some issues came out. हाँ, n factorial होगा ये, and then it will be what? N minus, sorry, n plus 2, n plus 1, and then n factorial. Again, like the previous cases, we have 1 by n factorial common, so that will be removed, or you can say cancelled out, and will be left out with this particular part. So what does that imply? You try to see. If you simplify, actually the pattern of the whole problems, the three problems we did is very, very close, similar. So यहाँ से n minus 1 कट जाएगा, so that will be n plus 1 whole square. So the very important thing you need to observe, is that if the problem is of this kind, so the value of k at this particular place is always equal to square of the number whose factorial is formed, right? So it is always the observation, right? So why did I try to generalize this? Because once you get these kind of questions as a competitive exams question, then you can see that you can do the answer within no time. So just for that sake of convenience, I would like to discuss two more examples. Suppose tomorrow somebody tells you that it is 1010 factorial, and this is 1011 factorial equals k square 1012 factorial. Then you find the value of k. So in no time you should be able to tell that the value is 101 plus or minus, right? Because k square will be equal to square of this, right? In no time, you should not take even time to answer this. Or maybe if somebody says you that your answer is, suppose this, they're asking you to find, work it out. Okay, 1 by 10 factorial, 1 by 11 factorial is equal to, say, 4k times 4k times 4 times k divided by 12 factorial. So here what will be your answer? 4k should be equal to 12 square, that is 12 into 12. So you can divide this 4, use this 4 to divide 12, 36. So k will be how much? 36, right? So somebody might modify this as 4k square, right? In that case, it would have been plus or minus 6. Please see this. So here is the next question where you have to find the sum of this. 1 into 1 factorial plus 2 into 2 factorial plus 3 into 3 factorial up to n into n factorial. This happens to be a very, very good question. Very, very good question. Please try to see. Right? This is a very, very good question. So we are going to start with the answer of this question. Let us just try to see how we'll proceed. Hmm? So here, just you see, here general term, right? General term. We do not have any direct procedure for finding this. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me make it a typed one, then it will be comfortable for you to see, as my handwriting is not that very comfortable. So we write here the general term is what is the general term? We write this as, right, a, we should write suffix r, right? So suffix r का जुगाड़ मेरे पास नहीं है, लेकिन मैं बना दूंगा अभी. Okay, so you write this as general term will be equal to what? R into r factorial, right? So here we should have a suffix that I am going to take. Just a sec. So this we are going to take. It is suffix r. Ar is equal to this, right? General term is this, isn't it? First term 1 into 1 factorial, second term 2 into 2 factorial, third term 3 into 3 factorial. So if I am talking about rth term, right? So it will be r into r factorial. I think there is no problem in understanding so far. So now let us just try to do some sort of technicalities here so that we can arrange this in a good way, right? So what we'll do, you see, we'll write r plus 1 minus 1 whole times r factorial, right? So after that, what you can write, just you see, we can write up to this. There is no problem at all. We have added 1, subtracted 1, keeping r factorial exactly same only. So now what exactly we are going to do for the result, just try to see. If now we multiply this, what I can do is r plus 1, right, into r factorial minus r factorial. I can write it like this. Fine. If I write it like this, in the next very moment, I can say that this is r plus 1 factorial minus r factorial. Great. So what did I do actually? Every term, every general term has been expressed in the form of r plus 1 factorial minus r factorial, right? So in that way, we can write this as a recurrence formula, right? We can use this now as a standard formula for finding first term, second term, third term, and nth term, right? So anyway, I'll not be writing a suffix 1 for everyone. It will take time to adjust that. So I'll write what? First term will write, right? Therefore, first term. Therefore, first term is equal to, what will be first term equal to, right? First term is equal to what is there? Let me write once more these things. This can be written as what? Look at the form. If it is ar, then it is r plus 1 factorial minus r factorial. So if it is 1 plus 1 factorial, I should get 2 factorial minus 1 factorial. Just please check it. Then second term, you write the second term, right? Second term is equal to 2 times 2 factorial equals, right? It will be what? 3 factorials minus 2 factorials, right? I just want to write them just exactly below each other so that I can get a comparison. Yes, very good. So now what will happen to this? What will happen to this? You go for the third term, right? Third term is equal to what? 3 times 3 factorial, and then I can write this as 4 factorial minus 3 factorial. right? And one more term here I'll write fourth term. Fourth term is equal to 4 times 4 factorial equals 5 factorial minus 4 factorial. And then we have to proceed like this. We have to proceed like this up to what term? The number of terms which we have to add it. So how many terms I am supposed to add? I am supposed to add the n terms, right? So the last one will be what? Nth term, right? Nth term. Nth term will be equal to what? N into n factorial. That gives you what? That gives you what? It is n plus 1 factorial, sorry, 1 factorial minus n factorial, right? So now you try to tell what could be the sum of this, right? Now you have to make a very good observation, because this time if you add all them, you are going to get the sum of all these terms, right? So what exactly we are going to cancel? You see, if I add up all these, then this 2 factorial is plus will be cancelled here. This 3 factorial will be cancelled with this. 4 factorial will be cancelled with this. This 5 will be cancelled with the second term of the next. So similarly, इसके आगे जो भी टर्म होगा उसके साथ ये वाला कैंसिल हो जाएगा जो यहाँ पे होगा. सो पूरे ओवरऑल ऑब्जर्वेशन देखने के बाद पता चलेगा that this term n plus 1 factorial and this 1 factorial will be left out. So that will decide the total sum of the complete question. So you write now here, therefore adding all, right? Adding all, we get, right, sum equal to how much it is. Directly you can write n plus 1 factorial minus 1 factorial को तुम 1 ही लिख दो, क्या प्रॉब्लम है? So this is the sum. So please go through it. This is a very good and so here it is your next question. You have to find the units place digit of the sum. That means if 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial you go on working out, then what should be the units place when you work out the complete sum? So this is really a very good problem. It is not a challenging problem. I cannot say that it is a challenging problem, but this is a good problem, right? This is a good problem, easy problem. So let us just try to answer it. You see, if we go for answering, you will understand it very easily. Answer. Okay. So one thing you try to observe. When we did the first number starting with the factorial of the first number starting with 5 factorial, right, whose last place digit is 0. 5 factorial is 120, right? Then next 6 factorial is 720. Then obviously if you now multiply any number with this, you are going to get any number ending with 0. मतलब क्या बोलना चाहता हूं कि 5 फैक्टोरियल ऑनवर्ड जो भी नंबर्स है तुम्हारे पास, इनका सारे जो डिजिट होगा यूनिट्स प्लस डिजिट वो 0 आएगा, राइट? तो इफेक्टिवली जो इस पर्टिकुलर सम का यूनिट्स प्लस डिफाइन करेगा वो बस 4 ही नंबर है, 1 फैक्टोरियल, 2 फैक्टोरियल, 3 फैक्टोरियल एंड 4 फैक्टोरियल. So this is what the trick of the question. So you just write it in this way. We observe that, right? Observe that 5 factorial is equal to 120, which has 0, right? Which has 0 at its units place, and then all others, right? Factorial n contains 0 at its units place if this n is greater than 4, right? Greater than 4, n greater than 4 होने से 5 से होगा, तो हमने ये ऑब्जर्व कर लिया, right? Therefore, right? Therefore, the units or unit place digit. Unit place digit is effectively determined by determined by the four numbers 1 factorial, 2 factorial, comma 3 factorial, and 4 factorial in the given sum, right? In the given sum. So please see it. Now we are going to write the answer very clearly. So I think this is not very difficult to understand. So we write now. Now what I'll write first. Let me write the sum 3 factorial plus, this time we'll write up to 5 factorial in order to show that we have all the rest of the numbers having 0 at the last place, that is a unit place. This equals what you can write: 1 factorial is 1, 2 factorial is 2, 3 factorial is 6, then 4 factorial is 24 plus plus. Now what you write here: sum of positive integers with 0 at the units place, 0 at the units place. So now you can see what statement we have written, that the sum's unit place is effectively determined by the first four numbers. Yes, it is true only because the rest of the sum in the bracket will be containing 0 in the unit place. So what is this sum equals? 33 plus a number, a positive integer with 0 at its units place, right? So what you can say here, the sum contains the units place digit is 3, right? So that's the very important part. So here you see the next question, question number 5. Find the remainder when 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial up to 1000 factorial is divided by 10. Actually, if you observe little carefully, it is the previous question only, and answer will be 3 only, right? Because I am just explaining it. I did not answer this question because it is same. Only one step more you have to write in the previous question. So, for example, if I ask you a number, suppose 139, I ask you to divide by 10, and I am asking what is the remainder, right? So you can easily divide. You can start dividing this. I'm showing you the division so that you can easily make out what's the fact behind. So it will be the unit place digit what is left out, right? Because if you subtract the unit place digit from the given number, that place will become 0. And once the last digit becomes 0, it automatically becomes divisible by 4, divisible by 10. So indirectly, when I am asking what is the units place, sorry, what is the remainder when this number is divided by 10, I am indirectly asking what is the units place of this particular sum. And the problem is already done. Units place is 3. So remainder when this you divide by 10 is 3, right? So this is really a very interesting question. So here is the next question for you. You have to find the remainder this time also when you divide this particular sum by 12. Earlier I was asking if I divide that sum by 10, what is the remainder? Now I am asking if I divide it by 12, what is the remainder? Right? So very obviously the same trick cannot be applied here. Right? The unit place digit will not be very good like useful here. So let us just try to see how we will answer this question. Once I go on answering, you will understand it very easily. There is a very small trick here, right? We observe, right? You see, we observe that right? We observe that 4 factorial is equal to 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. That is giving you 12 into some factor 2, right? And this happens like 4 and 3 will be present now onwards, right? And and clearly all clearly comma superior all other higher factorial, right? Higher factorials, higher in the sense I am talking about 5 factorial, 6 factorial, etc. Higher factorials from factorial 5 contains, right, contains 12 as a factor. 12 is a factor, right? 12 is a factor. Therefore, therefore, right? Therefore, what we can write, you see, 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial, sorry, this is a plus sign, 3 factorial plus 4 factorial plus dot 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 plus 1000 factorial is equal to, you break this 1, then break this 2, then break this 3 factorial, that gives you 6, and then you can write what you can write, uh, plus sum of positive integers, positive integers having 12 as a factor, or rather you can say positive integers which are multiple of 12, right? I think it is very clear to you to observe. So now from here I can get this as 9, right? 9 plus I can write this as 12 times a positive integer, a positive integer, right? So what did you observe now? What did you observe now? A part positive integer when multiplied by 12 and then added 9 to it in order to get the record sum. इसका मतलब क्या है? Division algorithm हमें बोलता है 9 is the remainder, right? So directly you write, so by division algorithm, we get the required remainder as how much? 9. Please see this question. This is a interesting question. This is an interesting question. So here I am leaving two questions, not two, one question for you to do. Right? If the sum is divided by 24, what will be the remainder? If the sum is divided by 60. And when you face the problem, it may not be 1000 factorial, it may be 10,000 factorial, it may be n factorial, right? They will of course specify n is greater than what or n is less than what, like that they will specify it. So please be very clear about this. So now there will be a very good question. Now there will be a very good question. Just see what is the question here, right? Let me try to fix the question. So here this is a question for you. We'll discuss, of course. Find the values of n so that 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial plus n factorial up to this is a perfect square. मतलब क्या n equal to 10 रखने से ये जो सम होगा it will be a perfect square. 2 रखने से 3 रखने से क्या रखने से कितना रखने से perfect square होगा, that they are asking you to find, that they are asking you to find, right? So it's a critical question. You can go for like guessing for 2 3, like for n equal to 1, so 1 factorial result will be 1, that is a perfect square, very nice. Now you put 2 factorial up to 2, 1 plus 2 factorial, so giving some 3, 3 is not a perfect square. Then you do up to 1 plus 2 plus 3, these factorials, some 6, 9 you will get, right? This 9 is a perfect square, right? 9 is a perfect square, fine. Then 4 factorial you do, 24 will be added over here, 33 will be there, right? And then like this, if you go on adding, how many values you will get for n as a perfect square. This sum is a perfect square, right? So let us just try to observe. Let us just try to observe, and we'll try to answer it. Let's see what or where we'll finish with. Let us just start with some of the answers. Answer clearly, clearly. Whatever we observe, let us write. N equal to 1. Clearly, n equal to 1 gives n factorial equal to 1, which is a perfect square. Which is a perfect square. Okay, fine. This is a perfect square. Very nice. Also, we have already finished. 2 factorial में perfect square नहीं आएगा, तो n equal to 3 लेते हैं, right? Then what will I get? What will I get? 1 factorial plus 2 factorial. This will be plus. Sorry, 2 factorial plus 3 factorial, right? That is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 6 equal to 9, which is a uh, perfect square, right? We have inspected two values. We have inspected two values. Now, how we proceed for finding the remaining values? It will be a task. It will be a very big task, Hercules task. So let us try to make some observation, right? Clear-cut observations, right? So we have to go back to one of the previous question. Just you try to see. I'm going for this particular question, right? यहाँ पे हमने क्या नोटिस किया, जब नंबर 5 के ऊपर चला जाता है, राइट, एन, तो बाकी नंबर्स में यूनिट्स प्लेस डिजिट में 0 आता है, एंड देन टोटल जो सम है दैट फिनिशेस विद 3, दैट फिनिशेस विद 3, right? That finishes with 3. Now, just you try to remember, is there any perfect square which finishes with 3? It's not, because we already came to know that numbers which can end with 2, 3, 7, and 8, they can never be perfect square. They can never be perfect square. Can you remember? So that's a fact we are going to use. So here we are going to conclude one more thing now. After that, what we'll write, you see, this we'll write like this. We also observe that we also observe that if n is greater than 4, n is greater than 4, that means 5 onwards, right? Then 1 plus 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial plus dot 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 this n factorial ends with a digit 3, ends with a digit 3, right? Greater than 4 के ऊपर अगर तुम रखोगे तो ये digit 3 में finish होगा. But we also know that, right? We also know that the numbers which are perfect squares, या फिर ऐसे लिखो, the numbers which ends with a digit 3, cannot be a perfect square, right? Perfect square, right? This already we know. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि हमारे पास n का दो ही ऑप्शन है, या तो n इक्वल टू 1 है या फिर n इक्वल टू 3 है, और कोई ऑप्शन नहीं होगा. So you write therefore the above sum can be a perfect square if n equals 1 or n equals 3. So that's the answer here by general observation which we did even from class 8.